So in this video, we will take a look at a highly requested how to add a new data source into an existing data flow when you are working with dashboard templates or even potentially dataset templates when configuring the data flow from scratch. I will be using an all-in-one marketing dashboard as an example, and let's go into it right away. If we take a closer look, the default template doesn't include platforms like TikTok ads, TikTok organic, and maybe a few others you may want to add. So today we'll look at how to add that new source, how to properly blend all that data in order for it to reflect in the dashboard. Before we move forward, I also created the dashboard template itself. I will be adding TikTok ads into the mix. Just FYI, I only have data for the month of August of 2023, so we will see this line change its values once everything is complete. So without further ado, let's dive right in. First things first, when we open the data flow, we would need to go to the advanced settings, which will give us access to things like transformations and adding new data sources that weren't originally included in the mix and so on. So the first thing would be to add TikTok ads, just so it's in the mix. And then before we start configuring it, I would always highly suggest looking at other similar sources you're trying to add, so that you can check what kind of reporting periods are there, what metrics and dimensions are selected, any other things. You can also check the transformation section, which it won't let me do because I've added TikTok, so let's remove it for now. Because when we look at transformations, we can also see the actual data shape and structure that needs to be included into the mix. Conversions was not originally here. This is something we can also add if you want, but looking at the Facebook ads, I understand that I need the dimension report date, I need impressions, clicks, amount spent, and then a couple of columns that we add with the help of a formula-based feature. So knowing this, let's go back to our data sources, and then we will re-add TikTok ads. Right away, we will configure this. So basic campaign report, that's fine. Add account. For the reporting period, like I mentioned before, I only have data in August of 2023. So let me pick that. Maybe I can include a few other months just to have them. And then here, since everything here is grouped monthly, I would want to check. There is no option for TikTok, so we'll leave daily and then use a formula-based feature to derive that. And then let's click continue. In here, we are truly interested in the impressions, clicks. I'll use the destination ones. Conversions, we can leave them just to have them. CTR, CPC, CPM, and cost per conversion. So now that I've configured the newly added source, I can go to transformations and let data reload. All right, so now that we have data in transformations, we'll see TikTok ads as part of the mix, but since it was never part of the template, we need to now make sure that the column names match and just reorganize the structure. So we don't need the ad account name, we don't need the campaign ID, and then a couple of things I'm noticing right away. My daily, which is the date, it's broken on a daily basis first and foremost. And then additionally, we have in here also a date timestamp. So I don't want that. I'm only interested in date. And then first thing, let's go ahead and look at Facebook and simply recreate the same structure. So the first thing I'll do is I will copy over the names of these columns and just paste them into TikTok. Okay, so we've got cost, and then we also got conversions total, which isn't a default part of the template, but if you want to add another metric, it is also possible. So let's say I want conversion here. I've added them to Facebook. I've added them to Google Ads as well, renamed them everywhere. And then you'll note that with Facebook ads, all the other ad sources in here, we also have the ad type and data source columns. So let's add those in. You can see that this is a formula-based column, meaning that we are adding it on top of an existing data set. So here, this is going to be TikTok ads. And then when I add the data source, I'm just going to name it ads. This is something that we use in the template in Looker Studio to then filter out data to certain widgets. At this point, we are essentially done with adding the data. The only thing, and then let's take a look at Facebook ads, you see that it's grouped by month and TikTok ads is grouped by day. I can still send it to Looker Studio, but it will look off where info for TikTok will be split into daily pieces and the ones for everything else will be grouped by month. So let's take care of this report date and just derive a month. So we'll use the formula-based feature for this. I'll call it date for now, but then we'll need to rename it as well. And then first thing we'll do is we have a formula called start of time, which we can then take the dimension report date formula and say that we want a month as our start. You'll see that it returns the timestamp with it. So we need to apply an additional transformation in here and engulf this into another formula, which is going to be the date time format, except for instead of date time, I'll just do date. And then we will paste the previous formula as an argument. And in here, we will need to mention the format that we are interested in. So this is going to be the, and I think instead of the format, we need to do the date parse. There we go. So as we click apply, we will now have this column that will show us only the month for this. And then we can simply copy this name and hide the other one. So this one we no longer need. We will be working with this one. We look at Google Ads. We also have a few columns in here due to how data is, or a few rows with due to how data is returned that have the same month. So we don't need to aggregate or anything like that. What we have now is good. So the final step is to look at the dashboard dataset. And then if we look at the append, everything we've added into like Google Ads and Facebook ads as conversions will be included automatically, but TikTok needs to be appended to the existing data set. So let's do that. And then the final step would be to execute the workflow again so that Looker Studio refetches new data. And then once it happens, we will see changes in our dashboard. So let's wait for it to execute. All right, so now that the workflow executed, let's go back to our template. And then let's look at this line right here. So 214,000 basically. Let's click on refresh our data. And as soon as it loads, this number will change, meaning that we've successfully added our TikTok ad. So you see now it's 230K, the clicks also shifted, and so on. So the entire process is pretty straightforward. You do need to be careful with the data that you work with and just kind of see how it's done for other sources. You know, an easy thing to miss here would have been the report date, but luckily there is all the functionality you need with the help of a formula-based feature and other things to work around it. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to our support team. We are always happy to help. And then just to wrap this up, we do have another video explaining on how to add new metrics. But if you recall, we also had some conversions that I included in there. So they will not be by default part of this report. So if I ever add any new metric that wasn't there as part of the data flow, when I rerun it, I also need to go into the edit data source. And then bottom left corner will have the refresh fields button, which will allow you to resynchronize any changes to the data structure and data shape itself. So here we will see that Looker Studio says I have a new field, total. It's conversions total because it's a group. So we'll click apply. And as soon as it loads, we will have a new conversion group here available with the total count of conversions. So if I ever wanted to then say, okay, this table will also benefit from having a total count of conversions right after my maybe CPC or something like that, I can do this and I can add this into the mix. There we go. Hopefully this was useful. As always, if you have any questions, get in touch with us. We will do our best to help, and have a great day.